This is our fourth section, our fourth reading. We're on chapter 11, section 1, Foreign and Domestic Issues of the 1990s. I was alive then. We have Foreign and Domestic Issues of the 1990s. What I'm going to read first is going to answer the first three questions. What were some of the events that surrounded the end of the Gulf War? What was Vietnam Syndrome? What were the causes of the Persian Gulf War? What was the Operation Desert Storm? And why did President Bush claim that he had kicked Vietnam Syndrome? So here we go. We're starting right here under foreign events. President Bush focused greatly on foreign affairs. The breakup of the Soviet Union changed what had been the world order since World War II. American involvement in the Middle East would have long-term effects for the nation. End of the Gulf War. Cold War. End of the Cold War, I apologize. In November of 1989, the world watched in amazement as Germany tore down the Berlin Wall, a symbolic reminder of the division between the communist and democratic worlds. Throughout the winter of 1990, communist governments in Eastern Europe crumbled. In 1990, Gorbachev received the Nobel Peace Prize for relaxing control over former Soviet satellites. And in October of that year, East and West Germany were formally reunited. A failed coup by hardline communist leaders in 1991 led to the dissolution of the Soviet Union and in 1992 formation of the Commonwealth of Independent States. There we go. Vietnam Syndrome. The Vietnam Syndrome, as you read in Chapter 9, over 58,000 American lives were lost as a result of American involvement in the Vietnam War. Thousands more came seriously wounded. Following that experience, the term Vietnam Syndrome came to be used to describe American unwillingness to commit to American military anywhere in the world unless it was considered absolutely necessary to protect the United States' national interest. There you go. There's our Vietnam Syndrome right there. It was to describe American unwillingness to commit the American military anywhere in the world unless it was considered absolutely necessary to protect the United States' national interest. Ronald Reagan used the term in August of 1980 in a campaign speech, and its use has reoccurred as conditions prompted over the years since. President Bush, as well as subsequent presidents, made foreign policy decisions based on, at least in part, on the Vietnam Syndrome. All right, so we have that. We're going to approach number 3, the causes of the Persian Gulf War, invasions of Panama. So, as president, Bush continued Reagan's war on drugs. In 1989, he ordered the United States troops into Panama to capture General Manuel Noriega, the director of Panama, and return him to the United States to face drug charges. In 1992, Noriega was sentenced to 40 years in federal prison. The Persian Gulf War. In August 1990, Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein invaded the oil-rich nation of Kuwait. President Bush responded by sending United States troops into Saudi Arabia with the agreement of Saudi leaders. The United States condemned Iraq's actions and approved economic sanctions against Iraq. The UN also authorized a joint military buildup in Saudi Arabia called Operation Desert Shield. The United States' involvement reflected its long-term commitment to protecting oil resources. All right. And then Operation Desert Shield became Operation Desert Storm in January 1991 when the United States, with troop force of over 500,000, the largest military commitment since Vietnam, and allied troops from a number of other nations began a total air assault on Iraq. By the end of February, Bush ordered a ceasefire, and Iraq accepted all UN demands to end the Persian Gulf War. More than 300 allied lives were lost. The Iraqi death toll was estimated at 100,000. President Bush knew his actions were taking a risk for the United States. And when this fast military action was completed, he commented that he had kicked the Vietnam Syndrome by bringing the military home quickly and with limited losses. So that answers all of number 3 right there. But why did he claim it? Because we whooped some butt and got him home quickly. It didn't last long. It was a very short time. So next question is, what were at least two domestic issues addressed by President Clinton? Domestic issues addressed by President Clinton, 367. Domestic issues. We have Bill Clinton here. From 1993 until we have domestic issues. We have health care reform in 1993. President Clinton presented to Congress a health care reform plan that would ensure health insurance for all Americans. Critics of the plan complained it was too expensive, complex, and limited in choices for health care. In 1994, Congress rejected Clinton's plan. Since the 1990s, the primary issue concerning health care in the United States has been the increasing cost of medical insurance. In the 21st century, growing numbers of Americans have been unable to afford health care insurance. Another domestic issue was Social Security. It became clear that the Social Security program begun during the Great Depression would run into trouble because of changing demographics. The number of recipients is increasing rapidly due to longer lifespans in the aging baby boomer generation. Several plans to change or improve funding for Social Security have been considered, but no plan has been agreed upon. Alrighty, so there's two of President Clinton's domestic issues. And we're going to go with two foreign policy issues addressed by President Clinton. We have foreign issues right there. We have one, the former Yugoslavia. All right. Tensions between ethnic groups in the former Yugoslavia led to a war in Bosnia in the early 1990s. The United States helped win an agreement between the two sides in 1995. In 1994, violence erupted in Kosovo, where Serbian forces massacred ethnic Albanian civilians. A brief bombing campaign by NATO forced the Serbs to withdraw. Many Serbian leaders then were arrested for war crimes and tried. The United States participated in the military crisis with the NATO troops. A second foreign issue is Rwanda. Located in Central Africa, the country of Rwanda gained its independence from Belgium in 1962. The country is composed of two major tribes, the Tutsi and the Hutu. The Rwanda Civil War in 1994 began a period of genocide in which it's estimated over 1 million Rwandans died. The United States did not become involved in this conflict. The Vietnam Syndrome was often cited for the American reluctance to enter the fighting. In 2013, former President Clinton stated that it was one of the biggest regrets that his administration had not tried to help stop slaughter in Rwanda, one of the poorest countries in the world. Then we're going to go on with Haiti. In 1994, President Clinton ordered U.S. troops to lead a multinational force into Haiti to restore a legitimate government after years of dictatorship and unrest. During the rest of the decade, millions of dollars in aid was pledged to Haiti by many countries, but little was sent due to the continuing lack of stable government in the area. There we go. What were the reasons for Clinton's impeachment? All right, impeachment. Scandal and impeachment, right here, page 368. Some of President Clinton's activities were the subject of investigation, including the Whitewater affair, which accused him and his wife Hillary Rodham Clinton of involvement with the illegal real estate scheme in Arkansas. The Clintons were never formally charged. In 1998, a special prosecutor accused President Clinton of several offenses, including lying under oath about the relationship with a White House intern. In December 1998, the House impeached President Clinton on charges of perjury and obstruction of justice. The Senate acquitted President Clinton 2 months later. This result was a similar President Andrew Johnson's impeachment trial in 1968. That's pretty cool. So let's look at this picture. Explain the cartoon on this page. What do we see? Up here it says legacy. Legacy is basically what he's going to be remembered for, what he's done. Here's his name, William Jefferson Clinton. Then we have accomplishments. It looks like a whole page, maybe even a whole book full of accomplishments. That's pretty cool. He sounds like he has a pretty good legacy to leave behind as a president of the United States. But what do we see here? This big blob. It looks like an ink stain. It says impeachment. So what does that tell you about this article and about, or not article, what does this tell you about his legacy? You could say it's tainted because of his impeachment. All of his accomplishments and what he has done are basically going to be overshadowed because of his impeachment. He's going to be remembered as a president who was impeached, not necessarily all the good that he had done while he was in office. Thank you.